viewers, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we take a look into a fascinating discovery. This is an old video featuring Candice Owens, the outspoken conservative commentator, expressing views that seem at odds with her current stance. Now, in the video, Owens addresses issues affecting Black America with a perspective that diverges from her more recent rhetoric. Now, Owens begins by challenging the narrative surrounding WS and palm color nationalism, asserting that these issues are not the top priorities for Black Americans. She criticizes the manipulation of race in political discourse, highlighting the cycle of sensationalism that occurs every election cycle. Now, as Owens shares her perspective on the manipulation of media narratives, she reflects on the audacity of attempts to distort her words and assign false meanings to her statements. She emphasizing pressing issues facing Black communities such as father absence, education disparities, and illegal immigration, which she believes deserves more attention than the sensationalization of race-related controversies. With that said, join me as we examine this thought-provoking video and explore the evolution of Candice Owens' views over time. With that said, check out this video. I will be right back.
I have to say that I object strenuously to your use of the word hilarious. To me, this feels a lot like your reaction to being named in one of these manifestos. Now, you're of course not responsible for the words of somebody writing that document, but I do think that laughing at it is a real problem because these are real families that are impacted by this violence. And I think our efforts towards talking about this have to start from a place of mutual respect, which is what I've heard from this side of the table. Now, the reason we don't have those numbers, I want those numbers as much as you do, but to say the numbers don't show something is simply not supported by the data.
Okay, and I have 38 seconds left, Ms. Mulligan, if you want to respond within that time.
The only thing I would add is that it's in the name. Terrorism, domestic terrorism, it terrorizes us. It terrorizes us in our homes. It terrorizes us in our schools. And to the points made by the other panelists, it is disproportionate to its impact on any individual life, and it's not.
You reject the idea it's something that doesn't matter, or it doesn't really matter?
Absolutely reject.
Okay. All right, so here's where we are. Every member now has had 5 minutes and...
I'll go ahead and claim my 5 minutes.
Okay, and Mr. Clay, so we have 2 members who have not. So I'm going to go to the 2 members who have not yet, and we'll give an opportunity for a closing thought to any member who wants before we go.
Am I next to respond, or is Mr. Meadows?
I thought Mr. Meadows was next.
Mr. Meadows, okay.
Mr. Meadows is next, then Mr. Clay, then to you, Mr. Jordan.
Ms. Owens, obviously this is a gang up on you. You know, we're giving these witnesses the ability to do a rebuttal on you, and so you know, I find it unfair, Ms. Ballou. I mean, you know, candidly, for you to show mutual respect and then you to go after Ms. Owens, it's not appropriate. So, Ms. Owens, you can have 4 minutes and 34 seconds to respond. However,
yield for a second.
I'll yield to the.
Thank you. I believe, Ms. Owens, when you used the word hilarious, it was referencing the fact that no one had asked you a question. It wasn't to the subject matter of the hearing. Is that right?
That is correct.
And to have another witness insinuate something that is not accurate is just not appropriate, Mr. Chairman, for how witnesses are supposed to behave in front of this committee. I also think you didn't say it doesn't matter about the subject matter of today's hearing. You said there are other subjects that matter as well, and maybe we should spend some time on those. Is that accurate?
That is correct, and they matter much, 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 much more. And I've said that. I said that in my opening, and I will say it again. You know that white supremacy and white nationalism is ranks nowhere near the top of the issues that are facing Black America. And the reason that you are bringing them up in this room is because it is an attempt to make the election all about race, as the Democrats.
Not in my case, Ms. Owens. I'm sorry. Please do not characterize my motive.
Mr. Chairman, it's my time.
Yeah,
it's my time.
You've got your time, Mr. Meadows. I'll give you 3 more seconds.
Every 4 years you bring up race, and you knew exactly what I meant when I said hilarious, and you just tried to do live what the media does all the time to Republicans, to our president, and to conservatives, which you tried to manipulate what I said to fit your narrative, okay? I was not referring to the subject matter that is hilarious. I said it's hilarious that we are sitting in this room today, and I've got 2 doctors and a missus, and nobody can give us real numbers that we can respond to so we can assess how big of a threat this is, because you know that it is not as big of a threat as you are trying to make it out to be, so that you can manipulate. And the audacity of you to bring up the Christchurch shooting manifesto and make it seem as if I laughed at people that were slaughtered by a homicidal maniac is, in my opinion, absolutely despicable, and I think that we should be above that. To try to assign reality or any meaning to a homicidal maniac writing a manifesto, which, by the way, let the record show, also stated Spyro the Dragon, the child's cartoon, as a source of inspiration. He also cited Nelson Mandela as a source of information. I don't think that Nelson Mandela has inspired mosque shootings. You can correct me if you think I'm wrong. You would rather assign meaning to a homicidal maniac than to actually address the things that I said today that are actually harming Black America. Number one, father absence. Number two, the education system and the illiteracy rate. Illegal immigration ranks high, abortion ranks high, white supremacy and white nationalism, if I had to make a list again of 100 things, would not be on it. This hearing, in my opinion, is a farce, and it is ironic that you're sitting here and you're having 3 Caucasian people testify and tell you what their expertise are. Do I know what my expertise are? Black in America. I've been Black in America my whole life, all 30 years, and I can tell you that you guys have done the exact same thing every 4 years ahead of an election cycle, and it needs to stop.
Now, in the video we're just from watching, we just witnessed a Candice Owens who appears to approach issues affecting Black Americans with a different tone and perspective than the one she exhibits today. Now, her critique of sensationalization of race-related issues, particularly in the context of political discourse, stands in stark contrast to her current narrative, which often aligns more closely with conservative rhetoric. Now, Owens' assertion that WS and palm color nationalism are not the primary concerns for Black Americans challenges conventional narratives and prompts viewers to reconsider the dominant discourse surrounding racial politics. Her emphasis on pressing issues such as father absence, education disparities, and illegal immigration highlights the multifaceted challenges facing Black communities and the need for a nuanced approach to addressing systemic inequalities. However, the evolution of Candice Owens' views over time raises questions about authenticity, consistency, and political opportunism. While her past commentary may resonate with some viewers, her more recent rhetoric often aligns more closely with conservative agendas and positions, leading to skepticism about her motivations and sincerity. Nevertheless, the issues Owens raises in the old video remain relevant and deserving of attention. Father absence, education disparities, and illegal immigration continue to impact Black communities, highlighting the ongoing need for comprehensive solutions and equitable policies. Now, evolving perspectives on the issues she addresses, it becomes evident that her trajectory from her past commentary to her present rhetoric raises intriguing questions about the authenticity and consistency of her messaging. Now, while her old video presents a Candice Owens seemingly more attuned to the nuances of race-related issues and critical of the sensationalization of race in political discourse, her current stance often aligns more closely with conservative agendas and taking points. The contrast between Owens' past and present perspectives invites scrutiny and prompts reflection on the factors driving her ideological evolution. Now, critics and analysis from various sources offer diverse interpretations of her commentary, with some highlighting inconsistencies and others applauding her for challenging conventional narratives. Now, engaging with Candice Owens' past statements, interviews, and social media activity provides valuable context for understanding the evolution of her views and the issues she prioritizes. From examining her public statements to scrutinizing her engagement with social and political issues, observers can glean insights into the complexities of her ideological journey and the implications of her messaging for broader societal debates. However, amidst the scrutiny of Owens' perspectives, it is important to remain focused on the substantive issues she raises, such as father absence, education disparities, and illegal immigration. Now, these pressing issues continue to impact Black communities, underscoring the importance of addressing systemic inequalities and advocating for meaningful solutions. Now, Candice Owens is a well-known conservative activist who has invoked the Constitution to defend her positions or attack her political opponents on numerous occasions. So it seemed strange that she was advocating for a policy that would blatantly violate Article 1, Section 1 of the United States Constitution, as well as the 1st, 8th, and 14th Amendments, a policy that flies directly in the face of well-established Supreme Court precedent and would serve as a significant infringement on an individual's right to freedom of speech. However, it begins to seem significantly less strained when you realize what Candice Owens is and what she's not. Candice Owens is not a back-in conservative. No, she is an originalist in the tradition of Justice Scalia. She's not a principled defender of constitutionally constrained limited government based on clearly defined generalized principles. Candice Owens is a partisan political commentator who is interested in seeing how policy preferences implemented by whatever means necessary. And her recent comments show why that is so dangerous. Now, in her earlier commentary, Owens appeared to adopt a more nuanced approach to discussing issues affecting Black Americans, challenging conventional narratives and emphasizing the need to prioritize pressing social and economic issues over sensationalization of race-related controversies. Her old rhetoric often featured critiques of the manipulation of race in political discourse and skepticism towards narratives surrounding WS and palm color nationalism. Now, she seemed to prioritize issues such as father absence, education disparities, and illegal immigration, highlighting the complexities of systemic inequalities facing Black communities. However, as time progressed, her rhetoric underwent a notable transformation, aligning more closely with conservative agendas and talking points. Now, her current commentary often reflects a staunch defense of conservative values and policies, with less emphasis on nuanced discussions of systemic issues and a greater focus on political polarization and ideological battles. Now, this shift in Owens' rhetoric has sparked debates and critiques from various quarters, with some applauding her for challenging mainstream narratives and others expressing skepticism about the authenticity and consistency of her messaging. Critics argue that Owens' newfound alignment with conservative ideologies may undermine her credibility and raise questions about her motivations. Nevertheless, regardless of one's perspective on Owens' old versus new rhetoric, her commentary continues to provoke thought and discussion on important issues facing Black communities and the broader societal dynamics at play. We have finally come to the end of the video. What do you have to say? Share your thoughts as well in the comment section. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.